I wonder what all these people sitting in front of me think of me. That's what's going through my head. One of the many things, including, my shoes tied, no laces, that's good. Are they going to care about this talk? But what do they think about me? I know a couple people in the room. They think something of me. You saw me earlier. You've probably started to maybe inform some sort of opinion about me. This is all the brand building exercise. Now, I can leave that to chance and just assume that you all are going to like me and think that what I have to say is valuable, or I could curate a brand and help you understand the things that I care about, the things that I have skill in, and in turn inform the way that I think you'd like to think about me. So we're going to talk about today the power of your personal brand. Whether you're a rep, whether you're a leader, an executive, there is immense power in curating a strong brand. Let's start with audience participation. I love JR's stand up, give me one of these standing ovation, but let's exercise the arms. Fact or fiction? You agree. Raise your hand if you agree that your brand plays a pivotal role in your success as a professional. A couple two hands in the back. Okay, most of you. I agree, so I'm here talking to you about this. I also know people that spend very little time curating the brand and are also successful. This is not a fact or fiction question. This is an opinion question. I think that this can create someone that's excellent to exceptional, someone that's great to excellent, somebody that is maybe average to great. Gong, RepView, there's a lot of polls out there. I love a good LinkedIn poll. Gong said 63% said, heck yes, this matters. On RepView, Rep said 55%. What's interesting is there's a large majority of people that either said yes or maybe, and a very small percentage of people that said no. And for those people that said no, and you're in that audience, give me until slide 7 until you go get another brownie. Okay, if you get through slide 7 and you still are like, yeah, okay, go grab your brownie, go grab your coffee. Everyone else, stay with me on the journey. Now let me tell you who I am. You met me earlier. I've had 4 chapters in my book. First chapter, if anyone can see that very small screen, is Tommy Boy driving in the car with his accomplice Richard. Greatest sales movie of all time, by the way, Tommy Boy. My career started in 2003 knocking on doors, literal doors. Driving in my car, sometimes with a printed out map. I've aged myself a lot here. But I learned a ton about brand in the physical world before social networks were a thing. I learned how having a great brand was essential to creating referrals for myself. Chapter 2, LinkedIn, thrusted into the social media world. I remember when it was kind of LinkedIn, Facebook, and a couple other little things. I saw LinkedIn go from IPO to Microsoft acquisition, and obviously I downloaded a ton of insight into why brand matters working at LinkedIn. Then I went to an Austin success story, also Australian, a cloud guru. There's a couple alumni right here at this middle table. We were an ed tech company that grew up during COVID, and we went from about 20 million to 100 million over 3 years. And now I'm CEO of Reprise, which is kind of creating the demo creation space, and I'm the CRO. Across all these different chapters, I have had different viewpoints, different things I cared about, but there are things essential that have stayed the same that are at the core of my brand. And I'd like to think if you've known me now for 5 minutes, a few years, or even pre-Tommy Boy, that a lot of those core values are ways you would think about me, and that's the brand that I'm trying to curate. Another poll. Show of hands, who's posting on social media in a professional context at least once a week? Okay, interesting. Most of you thought that brand matters, but most of you are actually not posting content every single week. That's okay. Maybe we'll inspire you here. Maybe you'll be posting in this session or just after the session. But as you can see from daily sales, 60% of people are posting at least once a week out of a couple thousand people. Now, there's a large proportion of people that are saying never, which is maybe 0 in a week or literally never. They're on LinkedIn, which is interesting. but they're not actively posting. And again, that's okay. I think this is a way to tap into a superpower. And again, if you're in that audience that doesn't believe in it, is not posting, I think one more slide till slide 7. Let's see if I can get you. 2 more slides. What is brand? It's such a nebulous term. If you're to look up the literal version of it, it's going to see something barbaric with like a hot iron. Another word for this could be reputation. What do people think of me? The reality is it's a couple things. It's a combination of things. It's your skills, your competence, the things you've done, the wisdom you've built over time. It's your personal drivers and motivation. Where do your passions lie? What are the things you genuinely care about? It's your character. How do I show up? How do I interact with people? What do people feel in this kind of exchange? And then 4, it's a track record of my achievements. What have I done? Certifications, milestones, awards, whatever that looks like. The good thing is if you're just starting out in your career, you may not have a long list of track record and achievements and milestones. That's okay. You lean on the other buckets where you have certain things you want to curate. As you get later in your career, you build more achievements and milestones and awards and all these kinds of things. Great, you complement those other things in your brand package. Okay, dissenters, slide 7, what's in it for you? If you're a rep in the room or a rep on video, I want you to hear me loud and clear that curating a personal brand is a revenue-generating activity. Leaders, you hear that too, because it leads to pipeline. And I don't know any organization right now that has got so much pipeline that they say, nah, we don't have time to build more pipeline. It's a way to create pipeline. Activity, creating networks. These are cheat codes, ways to get ahead of your competition. It's going to lead to pipeline. It's also going to lead to skill development. I learn so much every day just by logging on LinkedIn. Too much. I've got a list of like 1,000 saved things. But I use them over time and I get better myself. And then career opportunities, right? It's a shitty time. The news is shitty these days. And some of you listening to this may be looking for employment. Some of you may be hiring. Either way, being active on social, having a good social reputation is going to help you build into your career. 60% of jobs are found through personal connections. 60%. Now, if you're a leader, good news, all that stuff applies. Plus, you're going to inspire your team, right? Your voice matters as a leader. Your voice carries weight. That weight will inspire people to action. It's not enough just to say it in Slack or an email or in a company all hands. Get out there and tell it to the world. Your team will rally behind you. And as they rally behind you, you're also creating this magnetism to become a talent magnet. People follow leadership. We are inherently tribal creatures. We want to see people that say something inspiring and go follow them. If your voice is not active in the market, you're missing out on a huge community of people that might want to jump on the ride with you. So if you're hiring today, you're hiring tomorrow, you're hiring at the start of the new fiscal year, get out there and share your voice. You're going to create that magnetic effect and bring people to you. Because again, 60% of jobs are found through personal connections. No one's gotten up for the brownie. Okay, that's a good sign. Let's keep going. So leaders, while we're talking about you, dating myself again with Seinfeld, my favorite show, but you got to get comfortable with your teams being active on social media. I forget who said it in the last panel. Someone was talking about giving your BDRs kind of sharing their voice, empowering them to share their voice. And again, it's a revenue-generating activity, being out there on LinkedIn, curating a social brand. So you just got to get okay with it. Yes, their visibility will raise. Yes, they will find things in their LinkedIn inbox asking them about jobs. But if you're creating an environment where they're successful, you're developing them in their career, you've got nothing to worry about. People will come and go, but empower them to share their voice. And if you're out there and you want to be one of the influencers, well, good news for you, that market is growing. I am not an influencer. I am here speaking to you today as someone with a very demanding day-to-day job. I am like the middle of the curve. I'm like good active, but I'm not pushing things and selling other things. I have one job. I can't handle a side hustle. I'm not a solopreneur. I don't have any of that stuff going on. But I do believe in this. And if you want to take it to the next level and start monetizing your network eventually over time, well, good news. You're plugging into a pretty healthy system. Now, we're all busy. We all got a lot going on. So where do I start? This picture, when I started, my professional career was much different. I don't even know what some of these are, I think. Truth. My advice to you all, again, if I'm talking to the person that is beginner, intermediate, maybe aspires to be kind of exceptional on social, think about where your audience is. The Girl Scouts go to the grocery store to sell cookies because that's where their audience is. Their buyers are in the frame of mind to buy cookies. Go to the network where your audience is and where they're in the frame of mind to receive information from you. For me, that's exclusively LinkedIn. I'm biased. I worked there for almost a decade, but it works for me. I've dabbled on Twitter. And you're going to see a bunch of stuff around how to do this now, and it's in the frame of LinkedIn, but it applies to really any social network. First things first, your profile, the social bedrock of your professional brand. Devin is a BDR director on my team at Reprise. She's phenomenal. I've got a screenshot. I okayed this with her. But one thing before I even talk about what Devin has posted here is you own your profile. Okay? Your picture, the imagery, the words you use, your voice, your image, your pictures. You do you. What I love about what Devin's doing here is she's creating a story. It's not reading like a resume. She's talking about being a mom, being a wife, being a sales leader. She even talks about how she got started in sales, creating a PowerPoint presentation about how her parents should get them a dog. I'm connecting with it. I'm reading it and I'm feeling something. It's a value exchange. You surround that story with different chapters and different pages of your book, like certifications, media and articles, recommendations, skills, all these things. Fill in your pages of the book so people understand who you are, but make it read like a story. And that includes your headline. Show of hands. Now, I won't do the show of hands who's using their title as their LinkedIn profile headline. That's okay. I get it. It's hard to think about yourself in a creative sense. Someone said trying to be Shakespeare. I think it was Dan from Lead IQ. Shakespeare and I forget the other one was, but right. We're not all copywriters. We're not all marketers, but you are much more than what your title is. That's all I'll say to you. You are much more than what your job title is. Find a way to articulate who you are outside of your job title. Then you can think about growing your connections. Now, some people accept everyone. That's cool. Some people are more thoughtful and say, you know what, it depends what that person's looking for, and can I give value to them? Can I receive value from them? That's cool too. You do you. It's your network. You are curating something that is yours. Someone at LinkedIn once said, your goal is to have a mini board of directors. You surround yourself with people that can help you get to where you want to be. Your network is a large version of that. You can follow people, you can connect with people. Just have a rule of thumb. And don't pitch, please. I think we all, who's received this? Yeah. Who knows who Tommy Callahan is? Second Tommy Boy reference. Don't pitch. And also, I hope this finds you well. If you take away nothing else, just let's try not to use this finds you well either. But don't pitch. This is a fast track to ignore. Would you talk like this at the grocery store to someone? You might. It's probably not going to be a great conversation, though. Just talk to me like a human. And don't do this either. Would you go up to someone in the grocery store and say, hey, HEB said, I think we should be connected. We should be a connection. No, you would never do that. Don't use the boilerplate. The boilerplate, they should just remove this functionality. Don't use the boilerplate. Do this. Human, talk to me. I really enjoyed something you wrote. think it was really valuable. I'd love to learn from you on this topic. Let's get connected. Awesome. Tommy's talking to me like a human being. It's very clear to me why he's communicating. Great, I accept you, Tommy Callahan. I don't really need brake pads, but hey, let's connect. Is John in the room? There he is. Yeah, he had his phone ready. He was ready for this. So John messaged me, sent this connection request to me as I was building this deck, and I asked him if I could use it. As a way to, again, he's talking to me like a human being. A great thing about humans is we love humor. But we also love humor plus relevance. So in this case, in a professional network, he's using both humor to get my attention, relevance, we're going to be in the same place. Let's get that awkward, like I'm meeting you, you're meeting me thing out of the way now, and let's just connect. Totally cool. Accepted. We're now LinkedIn buddies. We're both expanding our network. And he got a shout out. And he got a video for it, free publicity. Win, 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 win. All right. We've built a profile, we're building connections. Now we're posting content. Start with what you know. It can be daunting. Show of hands, who's had like that social anxiety of like, ooh, I don't really know what to post, or I don't know if anyone's gonna wanna listen. I can feel like the anxiety because you're not even like doing the whole hand raise thing. Start with what you know. Start with what you're comfortable with, which is like Liliana, who's a BDR on my team too. You know, she's talking about her first cold call she ever made. She's recounting that experience, how it took her 3 months to get there, but she persevered through it. I guarantee a BDR somewhere out in LinkedIn needed to hear that day, and it made their life that much better. My good friend Aaron Jones, you just heard from right there. Aaron, I worked with at A Cloud Guru, is such an inspiring leader. I would run through a wall for her if she asked. Luckily, she hasn't asked. But the one with the door, yeah. But start with what you know. She is just a naturally inspiring person, and the words just come out of her so effortlessly. And that's something that she can write really easily. There might be other things where it might take her more time. That's okay. If you just want to start out, start with what you know. Start with what comes natural. And just be yourself. Madeline, who's here in the back of the room over there, posting about how she loves Adele. Who doesn't love Adele, right? But in a professional tone. She's using that reference in how she gets ready to make cold calls. And I guarantee, again, there's people out there on LinkedIn saying, that's pretty cool, I should try that. Or, you know what, I really needed that pick-me-up today. There's a value exchange happening there. Easy to write that. Start with what you know and be yourself. And if, again, you're struggling with how much of this and how much of that, a third. Keep it real easy. A third, sales-related stuff. Discovery best practice, cold call tips, storytelling. A third focused on people or stories, interactions you've had with people, customers that have impacted you. And then a third, passions and projects, other things you care about. Kids, unemployment, career development, whatever that looks like. A nice balanced approach, nice balanced pizza pie, so people get the full flavor of who you are as a human being. And once your profile's built, you're creating connections, you're posting content, now get in on the conversation. And I encourage you all, don't just join in conversation to agree. Create spirited conversation by thoughtfully disagreeing. I am not a morning person. Reprise people know this about me. My friend and colleague Esther, who runs her own consultancy, is posting about kind of early morning routines. I am not the run a marathon, read a book, meditate, yoga, breakfast, kids to school by 7 a.m. guy. I'm like, sleep as long as humanly possible and don't schedule any important meetings by 10. Now, a lot of people in that post are like, yeah, I do this in the morning, I do this in the morning. I felt compelled to share a different view. And that created really good spirited conversation. So join in on the dialogue. Don't be afraid to have an opposing view on something. And find your micro communities. Like, this is a good community. There's alumni communities. I posted in that group the other day, and it was awesome to see friends from company past come back around again. There's skill-based or experience-based groups, and then there's all different types of communities like Pavilion and Rev Genius, and these places where it's off social media, it's on Slack, but it's a great place to get your name out there and connect with great people. What does success look like? Engagement is great. Likes, loves, supports, all those things. Conversation is king. Post things that are going to create and evoke conversation. That's what I believe in. Andrew here, another BDR at Reprise, posting about where he was a couple months ago in not a great place to now smashing quota, uplifting people out there in the BDR community and creating 66 conversations. Amazing. Amazing. And you can track your progress. If you're concerned, if you're a data-driven person, the different platforms have all kinds of fun stuff and widgets built in to see, is my content landing? If yes, what is, what isn't? Are people viewing my profile? All these kinds of things. Now that your profile is built, you've built connections, you're posting content, you're joining in conversations, next level stuff is moving away from just text. So first post on the left there, talking about customer experience, just using words. Next level up, using an image, but anchor the image with your own comment. People love to see stuff like this, but they want to see what you have to say about it. It's not enough to just post a photo. Tell me what you are actually gleaning from that. I want to hear your voice. Then moving into articles, I love HBR. HBR gives me a lot of great value every single day, so I like to post content like that. And then video. Show of hands. Who's to take more than 10 tries to get a recordable video that you're comfortable sharing? 2 hands for me. But video is amazing. Like, imagine putting that out there and actually getting to see the voice, the tonality, the body language, the mannerisms. You can really feel like you're connecting with someone much more than just words. So find the courage. And then you can keep going into other things like long-form content posts. If you've got something really, really detailed to talk about, you can start posting different PDFs and white papers. You conquer recorded video, go into the uncharted land of live video, and then carousel ads where you can actually stitch together multiple assets into one post. So that's like 8 different types of post. I gave you that pie, a third, a third, a third. There's a lot you can do in there. Start with where you're comfortable. Take incremental steps. Whoa. That was a GIF. Sorry, LinkedIn. Sales Navigator. So it wouldn't be a talk about branding if we didn't talk about Sales Navigator, but Sales Navigator is an amazing tool to harness the power of networks. The connections you make benefit your colleague. The connections I make benefit my colleagues. The stronger those connections are, the better I can use them to get my product, my service to someone that might actually care about it and want to buy it. Pipeline. Great way to build pipeline. They're also dabbling with intent-based metrics, which is really, really interesting. So if you're talking about building pipeline, check out the new stuff in Sales Nav. And then last slide, and if you'd like questions, we'll have a couple minutes, so I'll tease you there. Find people that inspire you. Follow them. You will learn. You will be able to comment, create connections, glean value. These are 4 people in like the BDR community that I particularly get value from every single day on LinkedIn. You find your people. You follow them. You'll be inspired. Now, coming back around again, what's in it for you? Pipeline, pipeline, pipeline. Skill development, career development. And if you're a manager, all 3 of those things, which are important, plus you're going to become a talent magnet, and you're going to inspire your team. It's an endeavor worth taking. And I hope you all think kind of me now. I hope that was valuable to you. When I walked up, I didn't know what you all were thinking. I've informed you a little bit with what I care about and who I am as a professional, and I'm building my brand with all of you. So that's my show. So we've got a minute or 2 left. Is there any questions? I've been making eye contact with you, so you go ahead, sir. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Where's the best place to learn about what all of
Yep. If you search for something like, tips to benefit from the LinkedIn algorithm, you'll get a lot of different things. I mean, generally speaking, comments, like when I go back to creating conversation, comments are worth more than likes in the LinkedIn algorithm. Post length matters. Like if it's just a text post, probably somewhere between 15 to 60 words max. Hashtags, there was actually an interesting post around like, are we like getting away from hashtags now? Exactly, so they were a thing. It feels like they're becoming less of a thing today. My thing is post valuable content that people want to engage with. The rest is gravy. But there are ways to gain tips and tricks. If you just link like the LinkedIn algorithm, they'll be able to get you some content. Yeah. I'm in the morning when I'm not productive, I like to spend time on social. So I actually like to bookend my day a little bit with like, call it 20 minutes in the morning, kind of really going through LinkedIn, saving things, coming back around at the end of the day for a little bit of like, I'm fried for the day. Now let me go get some social time. And then if I'm doing social selling, I'm in there throughout the course of the day. So I like to bookend it, like how I would read a newspaper and then maybe come back to the TV news later in the day, something like that. All right. Well, I think we're up on a break, so I'd hate to leave you with that, but I would love to connect with any of you and all of you that are that would like to, and I hope you got some value from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.